So now I will talk about chapter 7 in Math in Plain English, and it talks about, the title is Using Language-Based Formative Assessments. This chapter will help with rubric 1 and 14 of the EdTPA, the conceptual understanding and analyzing the use of language. When having class discussions, one of the things that the chapter talks about is how, talking about math in a classroom is kind of like a window inside of a student's heads, and it allows us to see faulty reasoning, such as coincidental generalization. For example, when a student applies a formula and the answer is always an even number, sometimes they can, have faulty reasoning that formula will always yield an even number. So that's why speaking to students in a class discussion is important. And one of the things that I recommend is drilling one student in consequential, bigger questions versus scattering answers around the classroom, in order to have, that student think through the process. And then it also talks about creating the struggle. So students need to discuss yes or no questions, but not just answering yes or no, but discussing it and through math journals, annotations, cooperative learning, tasks for them, such as pair shares or group thinking. And then it talks about giving numerical versus comments as feedbacks. So when you grade a math paper, instead of giving a number for their grade, giving them comments would also help students achieve the use of language. Chapter 8 was about connecting memorization to meaning, and this one will help with rubric 4 of identify and support language demands. So there's an old school value on memorization, and it's mostly attributed to speed, of how fast you can give your times tables when asked. But what the chapter talks about is that the stages of understanding mathematical definitions, first they start with familiarization. So as you're having a classroom discourse, you talk about the vocabulary and what the word means to the student. You bring background knowledge, and then that's the first stage. The second stage, students create kind of like a mental model for it. So you can do games through this, or you can have activities that gives students a mental mode. In the third stage, it generates, students are able to generate examples of the mathematical definitions. And the fourth stage is that the concept is engraved in the math for the students. So this chapter will help a lot into the EdTPA of identifying the support in language demands. Chapter 9, it was called Incorporating Writing to Learn Activities. Obviously, this is a no-brainer for the EdTPA conceptual understanding of rubric 1, because it talks about the nature of the writing task. What are students really writing about that is more powerful than the amount of time spent on the writing activity. And the nature of the writing task has to be N words students need to analyze internally, and then they have to do with pacing and processes, obstacles that they face, and successes they had. So if they're able to write about those, then there's a huge conceptual understanding that happens inside students' heads. When we grade those type of writing tasks, we should expect the students to write the way they speak, although we should have very strong expectations, such as having the written work be neat, legible, reasonable with spelling, good capitalization, punctuation. Should have a policy for rejecting written tasks, and we should give simple rubrics for them. And then the chapter recommends 4 to 5 minutes times per week, 4 to 5 times per week for about 5 minutes of writing every time. So they're not telling us to have students write essays in math, but even just 5 minutes 4 to 5 times per week will help a lot with their conceptual understanding. Finally, chapter 10, I really want to say that I really didn't see any connection to the EdTPA. I don't think it will help us because it was kind of like a closing chapter where it gave us staggering statistics. Like, for example, 8% of students that are stuck in Algebra 1 graduated from college. Geometry is 23%, Algebra 2 40%, Trigonometry 62%, Pre-calculus and Calculus. And part of the reason is because the difficulties that algebra has is very abstract. It has vocabulary is just too much for our students. The background knowledge that is expected. Algebra is a building blocks, so you have to have a lot of background knowledge, and it's very strange to a lot of our students. Try linking algebra to grammar, such as subject and predicable, like birds fly, bees sting, dogs bark, but I didn't really see a connection to algebra. Thank you.